Right. Hello. Happy Witching Hour. Hello. Hey, sis. Hello, 1EQL and Miss Tina Turner says, isn't that disgusting what Diddy did to Cassie? Absolutely. If a man puts his hands on a woman like that, he needs to be thrown under that jail. That is the truth. And you know what? I believe that in the state of New York, I believe that not only is cheating on your spouse illegal in the state of New York, as well as verbal and emotional abuse is actually illegal as well. Of course, verbal and emotional abuse is not seen as a crime, as just as serious as crime as beating somebody, because obviously he could have killed her that day. And luckily he didn't. You could tell that, something was protecting her that day. And I'm just glad that, she made it out of that. And it just is very unfortunate. So I had made a video response earlier about that, about the video, and I took it down because I was way too emotional. I gave like a reaction like immediately after watching it, and I was tired. I was actually getting ready to take a nap because I had been up working. And so I went ahead and took that down. But I wanted to come back and speak more on the situation. But I also want to point out, and I want to talk about this because it needs to be talked about. It needs to be talked about. Hello, happy witching hour triple. Uh, it needs to be talked about. Verbal and emotional abuse needs to be talked about. Okay. And, as well. And I just want to say that verbal and emotional abuse is just as bad. And I think that men that do that, okay, especially when it's coming from a man. Now, I'm gonna break down Puff Daddy. I'm gonna break him down and what I realized yesterday about why he's so angry with women. Okay. And then, of course, he does factually have a God complex. He does. And probably, well, not probably, we know for a fact that P. Diddy, is a drug abuser. Okay. But first of all, no woman deserves to be mistreated. Even if it's a woman that may not be what men think is a woman that deserves to be treated well. I was listening to someone speak about it today, and I was actually very disturbed that he would take the opportunity, because he's an opportunist, but he took the opportunity to degrade women while discussing that P. Diddy video. So you're next. His turn is coming up for some kind of karma, for for how he abuses women. That's the truth. Um, he was making a comment about, it's not like she's a big woman, so big women deserve to get beat like that. It doesn't matter the size of a woman. I've seen women get beat up at all sizes. So we do not condone abuse and violence towards any woman. There's just no excuse for that. Okay. And so if you're an abusive man and you're abusive to a woman, you can't judge. You can't judge. P. Diddy, because you're just as bad, if not worse, because, you know, you don't even realize, or he probably doesn't realize it either. I'm pretty sure he knows how despicable he is. But a lot of men that are verbally and emotionally abusive, that still tears down a person. That's just like when we look at child abuse. Okay. People that are verbally and emotionally abusive to children don't realize that when you emotionally and verbally abuse somebody, that is creating a stressful situation, which does a soft kill on the person. It does. It's more of a slow death, right? It tends to wear you down every single day. So if you are emotionally and verbally abusing someone, you have the same problem as P. Diddy. Doesn't matter, I'm sure that just like any other verbal abuser, emotional abuser, P. Diddy being a violent offender, he can say, oh, well, I was having a bad day that day, or I got a little bit too high, and there will be excuses that will be made. But really, what's at the foundation of it is your lack of respect and appreciation for human life and another human being. Okay. So, all abusers need to think about the type of abuse that they are portraying to women. But see, I'd like to hear from him. I'd like to hear his response. Of course, I don't want to hear it in the courtroom. And you know what? I do believe that I want to do a reading on this situation. I want to read him. I want to see exactly how he feels about his actions. Because if we see Puff Daddy in a courtroom, he's going to say whatever he feels will get him the as less time in prison. And then also, I want to know if there is going to even be an arrest made, a bail set. I personally don't believe that he deserves bail. Okay, I think that bail is something that should be a privilege. I don't believe that he deserves to get out. In fact, I believe that they need to freeze up his accounts because he is accused of the kind of allegations that are being made against him qualifies for the federal government to even freeze up his money. Because if he has access to his money, he can escape. And judging by that video, he's very ruthless. He's very ruthless. Men don't, nobody has an excuse for abusing someone. And you can even see in the video where she's saying something to him, you can tell that she's not necessarily just being complacent with him. She's saying something to him, which it's a good thing that she is, because to me it seemed like he could have killed her that day. I honestly believe that there are deaths that you can suffer that are not a physical death. You know what I'm saying? So even though he didn't physically murder her that day, that kind of violence, whether or not it is physical, emotional, or verbal, it it murders them. In fact, when they do autopsies of people, especially because they do very detailed autopsies, especially when something happens with children. And the one thing that the doctors report back is that the thymus gland is usually atrophy, and then also you can tell that cells in the body begin to die. And I do believe that these men understand that they kill the life force of their victims when they are abusing. Now, of course, there is a way for us women to protect ourselves because, again, yesterday I was being verbally abused behind the scenes from something that's not even my fault by a male. You know what I did? I lit up my fire jar. Okay. Women have to start protecting themselves. And I'm sorry, being nice and docile, I'm not saying that, there is a difference between being submissive. Do I feel that women should be submissive? No, I don't. Do I feel that us as human beings should get along and have mutual respect for one another? Absolutely. And changes need to be made, big time changes, especially in social media. When you look at social media, that is all you see is males verbally abusing females. In fact, the rap industry, women are being verbally abused in a lot of the rap music. And years ago, when our government did attempt to protect us, people took it as discrimination. And I don't agree with that. I think that back when um rap music gained traction and momentum, it was seen as problematic, and a lot of the urban and black communities did not understand that at the time. I mean, of course, a lot of us understood that. And I think that rap music is partially responsible for the degradation and the abuse that we suffer to this day. And I think that when these guys are in the studio, and I'm not saying that, you know, that men that abuse should be given a pass. They all know that they're wrong, but they do it anyway. So I do listen to rap music. I've been listening to it. I grew up I grew up listening to hip hop. Okay. Back in my day it was Snoop Dogg, NWA, Dr. Dre, Eminem, when I grew up. But I don't listen to rap music that is particularly abusive to women. And so, men will say, well, there's women out there that are not, they are evil. Okay. A lot of men, and I agree. I believe there are a lot of evil women in this world. I do. I'm not even gonna lie to you. However, it's the same thing that I was speaking about the other day, and I can't exactly remember, but somebody came in and they said, well, what about the women that do it? But I mean, you can't, that's just like if I did something wrong. If I moved to Kansas and back home, and I met a man that treated me well, and I decided to abuse him and take out any anger that I have on him, which I wouldn't do that anyway because I transmute it all. I transmute. I don't do that. Okay. Um, I can't say, well, it happened. Well, what about the men that abuse women? I'm not going to look back at my abusive situations and use that as an excuse. See, as a thinker, as somebody that is intelligent, I'm going to look at the situation intellectually, and then also, being that I'm a good person, I'm not gonna live my life that way. Which, let's talk about P Diddy and what and how I feel he is the way that he is. Okay, you have to look at his mother. Again, you have to look at his mother. His mother apparently did something. From what I've heard, his mother was a sex worker, okay? And apparently she would do these things in front of P. Diddy and even get him involved. And it is rumored that he has some kind of sexual relationship with his mother to this day. They are very odd. The interaction between him and his mother. Hello, brother Hoskins. Good, happy witching hour. Their relationship seems very inappropriate and very almost like, my goodness gracious, when the stuff that we know about them. But I believe that the reason why is because he has tried, talking about Sean Puffy Combs, he has tried to normalize whatever trauma that he went through as a child, which we don't know all of the details. Okay. It's obvious that he was not raised in a wholesome environment. I believe that his anger towards women has a lot to do with the relationship between him and his mother. And they can kiss all over each other and hug all over each other all they want inappropriately. Okay. But in reality, Puff Daddy from a young age experienced something happened. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna start, you know, trying to. I'm not reading them, but it's clear that that is what happened. Okay. And so he's got some anger. When you do that to a child, when you are introducing adult things to children from a young age, that is going to produce that. That's what's going to, it's going to produce a person that behaves like Puff Daddy, no matter how much he is trying to normalize it and make it seem like it's okay. I mean, he was totally exposed. I mean, and he probably needed to get some mental help a long time ago for whatever it was that went on in the Combs household. He needed to get some help. And it's the same thing with R. Kelly. We know the story of R. Kelly. Apparently, R. Kelly was suffered from molestation by a family member. And so, but I mean, you can't grow up to be an abuser. And I do know for a fact that a lot of these men that verbally, emotionally abuse, you got to give up the ghost with that. You have to admit that something must have went. It had to have been something. Whether or not it was directly or indirectly your mother's fault as to why she let this go on, or either your father or something happened. It's too late for him. It is. I can. I don't know exactly how old Puff Daddy is. I'm gonna not Puff Daddy, P. Diddy. I'm gonna do a reading on this because I think this is very, very serious. And I, like a lot of people, are very concerned about public safety. I feel that if he would do that to a romantic partner, somebody like, first of all, let me take that back. I'm sorry. Him and they have a lot on him. This dude, I believe that what I'm going to see in that reading, because I am going to read it, I believe that what I'm going to see is that they're going to lock him up and throw away the key. Because apparently there is video footage that they also found in his home of him having these sex parties and orgies that are very disturbing. Okay. Like, not just people having a sex orgy, but beatings, and these sex orgies were very sick. And then also giving them drugs. There's video footage of people throwing up because they were so drugged out. Um, I do not like, in my heart of hearts, somebody like this, because money is power. Okay. It's sometimes a false power, because regardless to his money, he better go to prison for that. I don't care how long ago it was. Okay. Um, but money is power, right? It's not the only thing, but it is power. But somebody like that, he puts the community at risk. He is you know, I think it's obvious what I'm saying here. Somebody with that amount of money that's running around here willy nilly, as I call it. He is. I feel like he's a terrorist. That's a terrorist. That's a tyrannical person that can put the community at risk. I know that I would never go to any of his concerts because of just the seedy, shady person that he is. If he doesn't respect human life to that capacity, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near a person like that. You know what I mean? He could, I was thinking about that earlier, as I was, when I had gotten off the live that I did yesterday. He could potentially target anybody that he wants in the community. He could potentially target that person, and he has enough money to do it. And that's scary. So this is a person that needs to, first of all, he needs to cease and desist all of his criminal activities now, right? Because he's a criminal. He's a criminal. He's been suspected in a lot of death cases and things of that nature. And he's a danger to the people around him. Okay. And I'm not sure, like, it's pretty obvious when somebody's money is that long. There's a lot of people that are a little nervous even about speaking about him. Okay. Um, after I did my live yesterday, I did some protection for myself and my family. That makes me nervous. Somebody like him, who is obviously not who he portrayed himself to be. And he needs to stop terrorizing the world, because that's what I see. This is an international artist being exposed for this type of behavior. Um, but I do want to say that it trickles down to the not so um I want to say not so powerful men that don't, well, let's say less, men with less money. Okay. I think that this is a sign that you need to get help, because you know what? I'm pretty sure that by now that the atrocious things that you say and you put into your communities is just as bad. It's just as bad. I've seen men in relationships and they just verbally abuse their wives, and they do it to keep them. Okay, that was what Puff Daddy was doing. The girl was trying to leave. Cassie was trying to leave after he had already assaulted her. And he basically, he's guilty of a lot of different things. False arrest. That was false arrest. That woman was trying to leave, which is what she should have done. And he grabbed her and forced her to stay. So a lot of these men that verbally and emotionally abuse women, they're doing it because they think that this is going to make them stay. Okay? I don't know why they think that. I don't know why they think torment and terrorizing a woman is going to want to, make her stay with them. You know, um, but I think that a lot of y'all need to think, and I think that you need to get help before it's too late, because there will be a point when you hit rock bottom. There will be a point, even though you may not be physically abusive to a woman, you're still just as dangerous, and that goes for women that are abusers also. Now, I don't believe that a woman that was abused, like if a woman fights back against her abuser, and this is a man that has used terroristic tactics to keep this woman involved in a relationship with him. Same thing with him. So a lot of people need to wake up and realize what they're doing. Okay. There's no woman that qualifies for abuse. And the guy that I was listening to a few minutes ago, it was disturbing because he tried to make it seem like being beaten on made the woman special somehow. Oh, you're not there, you're not important enough to me to beat on. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I don't want to be so important to a man that he decides to beat me up. That's not a badge of honor. That doesn't make me a woman. Oh, he beat the crap out of me. Oh, he really in love. No, he's got a problem that he needs help with. You know what needs to happen in the quake of all this? There needs to be phone calls made by a lot of men calling in for therapy and counseling. I need help. You need help. I mean, no wonder P. Diddy gave her all that money. He knew what it was. He knew what he did. That's why he was so quick to settle out of court. Okay. It was nothing for him to give her that much money. But and she deserves it. She deserves every penny that he gave to her. After seeing that video, and we don't know what, I mean, he beat on Kim Porter. He beat on several men in the music industry. He beat on a lot of people. So and that goes beyond, he can't say, well, these people was hating on me and they was, no, that was him already in a position of power, and he abused that power. Okay. Another thing you got to watch out for P. Diddy is his spiritual knowledge as well. You have to watch out because he's also a spiritual abuser. I think I heard something about him coming into people's astral and things of that nature. You know, people with those kinds of mental health issues, mental issues, sadly, that's the ugly side of it. We can say, oh, well, that person is mentally healed, they have a mental illness, they have bipolar disorder, schizophrenia. But sadly, mentally ill people, and I do believe that Puff Daddy is mentally ill. P. Diddy, I don't know why I keep calling him Puff Daddy, because I don't want to call him a daddy at all. Because you don't represent a daddy, in my opinion. Okay. You know, it's violent. It can, and he does have a problem. Okay. And, there was a time when people that were violent like that, and I'm not saying that I want to go back to those times, but there was a time that, when people were violent, they would give people a lobotomy. You know what I'm saying? When people, I'm not saying that we need to start doing lobotomies again. I'm not saying that. But I mean, somebody like him, I do believe that he needs to be monitored. I do believe that he needs to be watched. He does not deserve to not have his phones tapped. He need to be tapped, monitored, arrested, because he has, not only did he commit a crime against Cassie, but he's committing a crime against humanity. That was very disturbing. And do I believe that it's necessary for his success for him to do all these things? No. Even some of the other rumors that we heard about him, Tupac, um, um, Notorious Big, the things that we've heard about him, how was any of this necessary? So I'll be doing a reading on it because I want to know. I want to know if he's going to be arrested. He probably has been arrested. That he may have asked for the arrest footage to not be released to the public, but the public deserves to know his whereabouts. We deserve to know if he is locked up. Okay, now we know that very rich people, they can afford to buy clones of themselves too. Okay. So, we need to know that this man is locked up, okay, whenever it does happen, cuz he's a danger to everybody around him. Okay. So, and I'm hoping that he's not able to use his money to persuade people, but and this is very scary right now because a lot of people are hurting for money. So, if you work for the police department or, some other agency, and Puff Daddy says, "Hey, I'll give you 100 million," you might be tempted to take that. And I hope that they're not, for humanity, please. Okay. So, and I heard that Wendy Williams, by the way, is they sold her what was that, her penthouse for 3.75 million, and she is now in a nursing home. I really hope that she makes a recovery, even though a lot of people didn't like Wendy Williams. She tried to expose how P. Diddy was, you know what I'm saying? And he terrorized and tormented her. He's a terrible person. And any of the yes men that are around him, I'm pretty sure he has a lot of yes men. Absolutely. You know, they are just as responsible for him going under the radar for so long. That recording is a decade old long. So I just hope that everybody does what's right. In the words of Spike Lee, do the right thing. Okay. And his money needs to go to domestic violence victims. They need to ante up his money and carve it like a turkey and give it to charity of women and children. Because can you imagine This man used to be married with children. He's in the presence of children doing things like that. It's unacceptable. It was very animalistic. At the end of the day, we are human beings. We're not animals. Okay. So, love you too, sis. Yeah, we can't accept this. Okay. And he needs to give back to the community that he stole from. Okay, let's face it. I'm sure that the black and the Latino community supported him a lot. He used to date Jennifer Lopez, and her mother. Boy, I'm gonna tell you the strength of a mother. I didn't even have to throw my cards when I looked at videos of the whole J Lo situation. I could tell that her mother got her daughter away from him. She said, no way, Jose. You're not coming anywhere near my child no more. You know, and I'm pretty sure that he thought, he probably picked and choose. See, they pick and choose who they feel they can get away with stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure that J Lo kind of cringes these days. Um, coincidentally, she was in that movie Enough. Do y'all remember that movie Enough? I have a lot of respect for J Lo for getting herself away from that situation, but I kind of feel that he abused her too. It just wasn't made as public, and she didn't really speak about it. We got to stop all this. And you know what? The whole thing to where, um, a lot of men and even some women will support a man and saying, well, she did this or she said this to me or said that to me. That is no excuse for putting your hands on a woman. And we need to wake up chivalry again. They said chivalry is dead, but we need to wake it up and resurrect it. We need to resurrect chivalry, for love. He called himself Brother Love. Mm-mm, that's not love. And you know what, what I've noticed, if y'all noticed this too, this will make you go, men have somehow inverted and perverted in the manosphere. They have somehow, and I'm not trying to get people to go after men. I want men because it starts with y'all. They have somehow perverted the this whole thing with as far as women fighting for their rights. They have somehow perverted this whole equal rights thing, and they have taken it to a level that is so ruthless to where, he was beating her like she was a man. And I'm not saying that men deserve to be beat like that, but it's obvious, when men are doing their Hunger Games and stuff like that, and they fighting out in the streets and stuff, most of us women don't want to be involved with that. And they're forcing it. I was saying just the other day that if y'all remember, I was just saying, well, I don't in particularly want to be out in the streets fighting another woman. I don't want to do that. That's not something that I'm interested in doing. And they're just like, "Oh, you a punk." Yes, I am. I'm a woman. Okay, it doesn't mean that I can't get physical exercise and be strong within my body. I'm not even into violent sports though, guys. I'm not. Boxing and wrestling and things of that nature. I'm not into that. Okay. You know. So I mean, I don't understand the obsession with violence and trauma because it's not good for you. It's not good for the body or the mind. And that's why you got to understand that drugs play a part in that too, is somebody that is on drugs real bad. takes away their inhibitions, and even disconnects them from their nature. I believe that, lions and tigers and bears, they have a nature when they out in the woods, but let's keep it real. Humans are human. And yeah, we are connected with nature. And I think that it is important to be able to defend yourself, right? I'm not saying just be frail, but I think that human beings need to stop and think like, hey, we have evolved, and we're sitting here watching the de-evolution for a lot of people, not all of us. Okay. And I'm just not interested in that interaction, even in my 20s. Even when I was in my 20s, it doesn't matter. I personally have never been into that. I think, and I'm going to say to women, please, please be careful. Please be careful out here. That makes me think about my client. I need to check up on her too. One of my clients, y'all know that I am a witch, and I'm a Satanist witch. I'm not Christian. I'm not the type of woman that says, well, that and then just go to the Lord. I'm not that type of woman. My Lord is Satan. So I know if you're a new person that's watching this, you like, oh my God. But last year, my client, it came to me, and she said, can you do some protection for me? Because this man just all of a sudden started threatening me, threatening my children. I did her protection, and he was in jail a few weeks later. I think it was probably less than that. They locked him up. Okay, so you do need spiritual protection. Spiritual protection can protect you against that. It can. And so I just my heart goes out. Like yesterday, my heart was broken. Like, he calls himself Brother Love, but that broke my heart, seeing that girl be put through that. And that's any woman. That's any woman. It wouldn't make a difference if the woman was overweight, dark skin, light skin, white, black. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay. So I'll do a reading on it, you guys. I will. I'll do a reading on it, and sending healing vibes to Cassie, because a lot of people don't take into consideration that. And it's like I said, clients that, Cassie has a lot of money. She's a millionaire, you know what I'm saying? But that, money doesn't matter. She's still like that's got to, you know, I just want to hug her. You know what I'm saying? After seeing that, and are you okay and everything? You know what I'm saying? Like when I speak about it, when I think about it, the image in my head, it literally is bringing like tears to my eyes. It literally is, because it just, when he had her on the ground, and like I said, I noticed details about things, the way he grabbed her, the force, the initial grab when he ran up on her. It was like, it you could tell that she took a blow to the back of the neck, to make sure that he subdued her to the ground, right? So he didn't just push her to the ground. He it was kind of like looked like an ancient technique of takedown, or some kind of kung fu or something. I'm like, what in the world? And it doesn't matter if he had her high on drugs. I'm pretty sure that He gave her the drugs, and then he probably told her, well, you just a junkie anyway. You just like, no, nobody, like, that's awful. That is, you know what I mean? So, and in society, women are pressured to keep a man around and keep a man happy, but a man got to make himself happy. That makes me think of Jada Pinkett Smith and how the world is so evil towards her. They see Jada Pinkett Smith as being this evil person. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's because Jada and her dynamic with Will Smith. Will Smith got shamed for, and no, I don't condone the way that he physically assaulted Chris. I don't. But I think it also is very telling because sometimes these comedians, and I think that Eddie Murphy highlighted that in that movie that he did with Jada. What was that? The Nutty Professor. The comedian that was just not funny. He was just verbally abusing people. So, and I think that people need to realize that abuse is abuse. Okay. And this is primarily what is, it's causing a lot of issues and problems. As a high priestess, I understand the metaphysics and the spiritual process of possession also. you know uh P Diddy is the type of man that he's not just going to be with a woman. He feels like she is a possession of his. And so some men are looking at it as, well, he kept his pimp hand strong. And y'all know how I feel about that, because I just stopped calling it love. I think a lot of people are warped in that perception of love. And, I know for a fact, because I've seen love and then I've also experienced love for not only myself, but another person. And you couldn't pay me to leave that person. But I think that a lot of these men do that because they're insecure and they want to keep a woman with them. And so they think, well, this will keep her with me. And I think that we all need reform, in that perspective, with the way that we look at love as violence and abuse. And so, yeah, I'll do a reading though, you guys. Oh man, I'm thinking of all kinds of ways that his money would be useful. Right now, I'm looking at him as the demon of domestic violence. That's all. His money should be, like they were saying, carved like a turkey. It should be carved like a turkey and distributed to, of course, his children should get some money. The man does have children, okay? But I think that he needs to, I'm seeing domestic violence shelters that need help, because, yeah, domestic violence has sadly been swept under the rug and ignored, especially the past 3 years, because of the pandemic. So I was hearing that during the pandemic, domestic violence got worse, and then also child abuse got worse. And so I just, there, and these women and these children, they do need a safe place to go. And then men, okay, I'm not going to discount men. Men can absolutely and have been victims of domestic violence. So I am not in any way discounting men and their terror, their abuse either, because men are being abused. They say every 1 in 4 women are abused, and I think every one in nine of every 1 out of 9 male. So it is a considerable difference, and we do hear more about, and those are just things that are reported though. Okay, so we can only go by what's been reported and known, but so somebody of his status, like, you canceled. He does need to do time in prison. um they say that he's worth $1 billion. He's less than zero, in my opinion. Okay, he ain't worth nothing to me. But you can look at him as he's a there's a lot of people that will look at him as a man of value or something, and I'm not seeing the value. And so anyway, healing for Cassie, and my heart goes out to any of you victims of domestic violence and sexual violence out there. You know what I'm saying? Mm, mm, mm. For some reason, after seeing that video, guys, like, I'm an empath, right? And it just, it just, the impact of it, you know what I'm saying, of the whole back of the neck thing, and when the initial grab and the takedown at the back of her neck, that could do permanent damage to a person physically and psychologically, you know what I'm saying. I could talk about my theory as to why we don't respect each other, but I'm not, because I've said it previously. I hope that we as a human race start to live better. Okay, and I like to see it in this lifetime. And I think at least you can make a choice to live better. Okay, and do better. All right, guys, I'll see you guys later. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe, share. And I will see you guys later. If you are dealing with any kind of emotional, physical, abuse, or if you have dealt with it, I am not a non for profit organization, but I do think that it is important for women to understand that you can put your life back together. Okay. And I do teach classes. I do teach classes in witchcraft. Witchcraft is an excellent way. You can learn healing techniques, you can learn protection techniques, because sadly, for a lot of women, for a man to treat them like that, you're not getting, millions of dollars. You're going to get judgment from the community. And, that goes along with misogyny and sexism. So I am there for y'all. Okay, I am. And that's women and men. Okay, because I do know that men suffer abuse too. So, but you can visit divineservicesapothecary.com. Okay. All right, guys, I will see y'all later. Okay, blessings. Bye bye.